When you pay $20 a month for a professional coding assistant in 2026, the baseline expectation is availability. You aren't just paying for the intelligence, you are paying for a tool that stays online while you work. Imagine it's midday Tuesday. You are deep in a debugging session using Google Antigravity, trying to trace a race condition. You hand the logs to the agent, it identifies the fix, and the code is updated. But as soon as you try to run the next command, the agent hits a wall. You check the status and see you are locked out for the next 6 days and 18 hours. This 168-hour lockout is total. For the rest of your work week, the agentic features you rely on for refactoring and testing are dead, effectively paralyzing your environment. This is a sharp departure from the original Antigravity launch, which offered 5-hour refresh cycles to keep developers in their flow. The $20 Pro plan has shifted from a professional daily driver to a CAC's trial, creating a significant risk of sudden workflow disruption. This shift wasn't an accident. It was part of a broader realignment of Google's AI pricing. In early 2026, Google officially reclassified the $20 tier. They no longer describe it as a tool for active development, but as an entry-level quota for experimentation. This timeline shows the cost trajectory for Google's tools. We went from free Project IDX to the $20 Antigravity 1.0. But by May 2026, the daily driver is the $200 Ultra tier, creating a massive $230 gap between the experimentation and professional tiers. Professional developers are forced into a difficult choice: either pay a corporate-level subscription fee out of pocket or look for an entirely different ecosystem. Within the Antigravity ecosystem, Google has essentially moved the daily driver status out of reach for the solo developer. The reason these tokens vanish so quickly comes down to how Antigravity handles background tasks. While the agent works, the interface stays calm. All you see is a thinking icon, suggesting a single controlled process is happening. But the underlying architecture is much more aggressive. A single prompt can trigger multiple headless subagents running in parallel: a browser agent, a terminal agent, and a file indexer. The browser subagent independently renders your app to verify visual changes. The terminal subagent runs failing test suites repeatedly in the background to find a fix. And the file indexer devours tokens by scanning every file in your directory, including massive dependency folders like node modules. A single typo can trap these subagents in an infinite self-correction loop. Without a transparent ledger to show you the cost, a 1-hour session can burn through your entire weekly quota. Because there's no visible usage ledger or token cap, the developer loses all financial and operational control over their environment. At this level of autonomy, you are trading billing transparency for pure execution power. But other tools are managing these same token costs differently at that same $20 price point. Looking at this matrix, we can see how Antigravity Pro's hard lockouts compare to the competition. Cursor Pro uses a soft limit model. Instead of a 168-hour lockout, Cursor simply moves you to slow queries when you hit your limit. Your productivity might dip, but it doesn't stop. GitHub Copilot offers the most predictable limits, even if its agentic autonomy score is lower. You lose the multi-file background orchestration seen in Antigravity, but in exchange, you get a tool that never hits an unexpected billing wall. For most independent work, having a tool that is 100% available is more valuable than one that is occasionally powerful but prone to lockouts. This uncertainty is leading many developers to question the long-term viability of cloud-metered subscriptions entirely. When you're constantly checking a quota dashboard, it creates a baseline level of anxiety that breaks the focus required for deep work. This quadrant chart illustrates the pivot toward local execution. While cloud APIs are cheap to start, they offer the least operational freedom. By investing in high-end local hardware, you trade a high upfront cost for the ability to run iterations infinitely without hitting a subscription cap. For solo engineers on a budget, the practical choice is to stick with tools like Cursor or Copilot that prioritize predictable soft limits. If your workflow absolutely requires the level of autonomy found in Antigravity, the $200 Ultra tier should be viewed as a necessary business expense rather than an optional upgrade. Moving forward, we're seeing a two-lane system: cloud APIs for high-level architectural planning, and local silicon for the high-frequency, iterative tasks that would otherwise burn through a cloud quota.